The survival gaming genre never sleeps, and this week proves it. Whether you're ducking sandworms in Dune Awakening, diving into freshly surfaced dev details for Subnautica 2, navigating the treacherous waters of the Crosswinds, or watching new mech animals stomp through the lands, there's no shortage of chaos, promise, and updates across the genre. And with Grounded 2 just weeks away, the survival scene is heating up fast, so let's break it all down. No fluff, just the facts and a whole lot of details. First up, Dune Awakening just pushed out patch 1.1.10, and while it's being labeled as a quality of life update, for a lot of players it feels more like a necessary firefight. The most immediate and brutal change is how sandworms now linger near recently harvested spice fields. What was once a calculated risk is now a death sentence for the unprepared, with social feeds already flooding with close to players getting completely obliterated within seconds of extraction. We're not talking about narrow misses or lucky escapes, these are full-fledged wipe, with sandworms appearing almost instantly after a harvest. While it adds to the tension of the desert, the frequency and unpredictability of these encounters are starting to feel more like a bug than an intentional feature. It's disturbing progression and creating serious frustration for solo players and small groups just trying to complete spice runs. Beyond the worms, cheating continues to be a major problem. The devs claim to have addressed issues with item durability, resource duplication, and vehicle theft, but in practice the results have been mixed. Duping exploits are still being reported widely across the community, and cheatings are warping the economy through black market trades and inflated market price value. It's clear this patch was aimed at stabilization, but the foundational cracks are still visible. Vehicle theft in particular remain an ongoing frustration, with players losing fully upgraded transports to basic glitches, and while the privacy-friendly streamer mode is a nice addition, it feels like a surface-level polish on a game that still has deep, unresolved problems at its core. Faction mechanics also saw some tuning this week. The balance between Harkonnen and Atreides forces have been adjusted to encourage more meaningful PvP engagements across control zones, but the changes haven't done much to address the layers of in-game problems. The faction grind remains repetitive, the territory controls still feel heavily one-sided depending on the server population and the time zone activity, and this patch feels like a step forward, but the game foundation continues to be tested by systematic issues that simple quality of life updates aren't solving. Moving over to Subnautica 2, we got two major pieces of news this week: an updated preview confirming the game's 2025 early access window, and an unexpected shift in the development team. The sequel is now being built in Unreal Engine 5 and promises 4-player co-op, crossplay, and a much more narrative-driven experience than anything we've ever seen in the franchise before. The world design has been significantly overhauled, with new alien biomes, more intricate base building, and a brand new Leviathan class creature that's set to rival anything in the original game roster. But the real shock came with the behind-the-scenes team shakeup. Multiple senior developers from the original Subnautica team has reportedly stepped down or have been reassigned, with fresh faces now taking point on several major design elements. While Unknown Worlds haven't publicly explained the internal changes, the move raises big questions about the creative direction of the sequel. Subnautica identity was closely tied to its original developers, and fans are right to wonder how much of the spirit will carry forward with a new team at the helm. Of course, there's tons of potential here with Subnautica 2, but it's now wrapped in uncertainty, and how the community responds to the first public build will be absolutely critical. Now, let's talk about Crosswind, the ambitious pirate-themed survival MMO that just expanded into alpha test by another 2 weeks. And I can speak on this firsthand as I've been playing it. It's shaping up to be one of the most promising entries in the genre this year. The world is massive, blending the exploration of classic pirate games with modern MMO structures. There are currently 3 fully explorable biomes, 3 major bosses, each with multiple difficulty tiers, and 4 playable ships, including immersion vessels that open up unique trade and resource opportunities. What really stands out is the blend of naval and land combat. Sailing feels fluid, and switching from ship to shore gameplay is surprisingly seamless for an alpha. Combat feels relatively responsive, and on land you can gather resources, build outposts, and progress to a story-driven campaign that actually ties into boss fights and explorations pretty well. Even at this early stage, the game has over 30 hours of content, and while it's rough in some places for sure, the bones are very strong. Only about 5% of applicants have received access so far. They're trying not to overload the servers because, you know, they're still kind of in the early access phase, but if you're one of the lucky few, you're actually in for a treat. The devs are actively collecting feedback, and it's clear that they're watching very closely, and if you want a full breakdown or some type of early access review of my experience so far, drop a comment, let me know, because I have a lot to say about Crosswinds. Next, we got Grounded 2. quietly gearing up for its release on July the 29th, and honestly, more people need to be paying attention to this one. The original carved out a unique identity in the survival genre with its backyard bug hunting theme, and the sequel is doubling down on everything that made it work, creating new biomes, expanded enemy types, and much more refined AI behavior across the board. Combat is tighter, base building has been upgraded significantly, and the campaign is far more developed this time around, with actual progression-based storytelling layered into the sandbox experience. There's also a deeper gear system, creature taming mechanics and riding, and more modular construction tools that will let players fully customize their shelters across both horizontal and vertical planes. Grounded 2 is shaping up to be more than just a follow-up. It looks like a full evolution of the concept, and with July 29th release date locked in, we should expect more reveals and previews in the next coming days ahead. Just keep in mind I am covering this game in depth here on the channel, so we will definitely have tons of coverage on Grounded 2, but once again, definitely need to keep eyes on this one. And finally, let's close out with Light of Motiram, a lesser known title that just dropped a brand new gameplay trailer showcasing several new environments and a fresh look at the game's signature feature, mech animals. These are tameable robotic creatures that act as a mount, companion, and even combat partners as you traverse the game's open world. The biome diversity is striking, from lush jungle ruins overrun by nature to tech-laced valleys filled with mystery. The world design feels layered and intentional. There's a real sense of progression tied into exploration, and while the devs haven't laid out the full system yet, it's clear that they're aiming for a survival loop that emphasizes freedom and creativity. Now, I'm not blind, and as many of you are probably not either, there's definitely comparison to the Horizon series here, with the wild meat tech aesthetic, the overgrown sci-fi ruins, and the mechanized wildlife all invoke a similar tone, though Light of Motiram leans more into the survival mechanics with crafting, base building, and scarcity-driven resource systems. If the devs can pull off what they're teasing, this could easily be one of the more standout survivals releasing in the next year. And there you have it, that wraps up this week in survival. From Dune Awakening's chaotic spice-choked dunes to Crosswind's naval skirmishes, and with Grounded 2 looming on the horizon, there's plenty to keep your inventory full and your base on edge. If you got thoughts, theories, or just want to yell about corrupted mods and crashing ships, drop a comment down below. And if you're looking for more deep dives and breakdown, you know exactly where to be. This is Fervor signing off.